Hello, welcome to KHTS AM 1220, your hometown station. We are a student-led radio show in partnership with SCVi and KHTS, of course.
And our name is Our Way on the Highway.
Yep, I am Bristol Biggs. This is
Nathan Yost.
And Alex McEwen.
And today we are interviewing Mayor Cameron Smythe. How are you doing, Mayor?
I'm doing good, guys. How are you?
I am absolutely scumdiddlyumptious.
Shouldn't you be in class right now? Or
I mean,
We're excused to be
you?
able to be here right now.
So you should be good. You should be good then if you're not in class.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're pretty okay.
Well,
Yeah.
we
Well,
get kind of visit
privileges.
class.
You're welcome. Get you guys out of class. So don't tell your
Yeah.
parents though when they go, on election day that the mayor got them out of class. So let's make sure there was an excused absence. I'm sure.
Of course.
Yes, a work product.
There always is.
Yes,
It's kind of hard to keep hidden also when you're live.
that's true. That's true.
Yeah. So, in 5 words, describe yourself.
5 words to describe myself. You know what? You see, asking a politician to use 5 words, you've already got me off my notes here.
Try your hardest.
All right, so I would say I am competitive. I am driven. I am. What's that? 2? That's only 2.
That's 2.
Only 2.
Boy,
yeah, 3 more.
I am. I'd like to think that I'm empathetic. I am. And a coalition builder. So that'll be 2 words. All the things that are important, I think, in the job. Politics is a competition at times. You got to run for office, and I spent most of my life doing sports. Growing up out here, I played sports, went to Hart, and then went to college, and was a 2-sport athlete in college, and so I always had that kind of competitive nature in me, and when I first got into politics, I was working on campaigns, which are very much, a competition. I was helping other people get elected, and I found that I enjoyed that part of it. But then also, once you get elected, there's a big difference between campaigning and governing, and that's where the coalition builder comes in.
Okay. Where do you kind of start your political? Where did you get your kind of politics start?
So it started when, I could say I started in 8th grade at Clarita when I was on the ASB, and then I ran for class president in 9th grade, and I lost to Hillary Larkins by 32 votes. But ironically, you love Santa Clarita. She still lives out here and ended up voting for me for the city council and stuff. And well, at least I think she voted for me. She should, because she beat me. It's the least she can do. But I started with my father. Actually, was running for the city council when I graduated from school, and I came back home and helped out on his campaign. And he ended up getting elected on election night. He was winning by 8 votes. Oh, and he ended up winning by a total of 16 votes, and it was there where you really realize that no one can ever tell me that your vote doesn't count, because I watched a race that made a huge difference, in my life, in the city's life, the city's history, with my dad getting elected by such a small margin. So from there, I kind of got into it. I did some internships, and got a job working for a state legislator, and it was kind of during that time where I thought, I might want to transition from staff to actually being elected.
Wow, that's really cool. So, you went to Hart High School in Clarita. How has education changed since you first went there?
So, I think technology certainly would be the biggest fundamental change is certainly that. Also, educational standards, educational programs. Common Core, for example, is a new format that my kids go through. And I cannot help them, with their math, because Common Core is a completely different learning system.
Yeah, everything changes
than we had. There's been some ways there's been a de-emphasis on things. Like when I was in junior high and high school, I could take metal shop. I took wood, electricity, a lot of those type of shop classes that don't really exist anymore. If they do, they're only at some campuses and not at others. So I think that's those have been the biggest changes, just how technology has come into play and what employers and what colleges, if you're looking that path, what they're looking for out of those classes.
Yeah, I've noticed that a lot of schools have kind of been kind of shifting into the more of the arts.
There's that one, just things like, again, simple things like spell check. Right?
Yeah.
Like I didn't have my spell check was the dictionary.
Oh, yeah.
My research was not my phone, it was not my laptop, it was the library and it was the encyclopedia.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that was those types. So you certainly also, I know you asked. My wife is teaches over at College of the Canyons. The ability to cheat has gotten so much easier. That there's a software that she uses called Turnitin.com, and so every paper that she gets, they run it through this software to see if people have plagiarized from other papers. I mean, there's a whole industry about that, people selling their work for other students, and so you have to for teachers you have to be more on top of those things, because it is much easier to just take other people's work and pass it off as your own.
That's great.
Yeah, wow. I didn't even know that there was a black market for homework.
It's all term papers, and we did it even when I was writing a column for the paper. I would send all of my stuff through her, turn it in, just because sometimes if you're talking about a specific policy, other people have written about it. You want to make sure that it's not seen as though you have taken other people's work. So some of those changes have you've seen a lot of.
Yeah, big changes.
Since we're on a topic of school, what was your favorite class, and why was that your favorite class?
So obviously we're going to assume we'll take PE out. But you know what? I really enjoyed history, geography. That was even social studies. So I always liked learning about our states, learning about and then just geography. I ended up minoring in geography in college because I just enjoyed that aspect of those subject matters. So that would probably be my the favorite one of the core subjects.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with all the universities to choose from, you chose UC Davis. Why?
Because they wanted me to play football there.
Oh. Okay.
I mean, that was part. Certainly there were of course other reasons, and but I felt for me, Davis kind of fit both athletically. I think it allowed me to play at the highest level I was capable of playing, but also it was a strong school academically. And it was far enough away from home that my parents couldn't just pop in every day.
Yeah.
But it was close enough that I could get on a plane if I needed to, or I could drive 6 hours and be home, or if something happened. So for me, I felt like it was a good balance. And what they said about Davis, and I still kind of agreed with that, is that it was, you got a big school education, so like a UCLA, UC system education, but it's still kind of in a small school atmosphere, because really Davis, the town of Davis was really centered around the university. So anybody I met usually went to school there. And so I always felt like I knew someone in one of my classes, at the coffee shop or wherever.
Yeah.
It kind of had that smaller feel.
So
Now,
kind of a small world.
Yeah.
Yeah, now speaking on the topic of football that you just said, what position did you play in football, and do you think your team is still around right now?
So I was a wide receiver, so like I said, I played at Hart. So obviously, Hart is still around, doing well. So played there, and then Davis is still doing well. If you notice, even their basketball program made it to the March Madness this year for the first time, and so it is, and I still keep in touch with a lot of my teammates, and they're some of my closest friends.
Cool. So you majored in rhetoric communication at UC Davis. What is that? Why that field? And did you minor in anything?
So, yeah, rhetoric and communications. Rhetoric is the quote systematic study of oratory. Is the and it's it's very much it is a communications degree, but rhetoric it put a little bit more classical theory to it. So studying Aristotle, sophistry, other ancient, kind of historical communication patterns. So I really enjoyed that, and then I minored in. I had 2 minors actually in geography and dramatic art.
Really cool.
Yep.
So let's kind of segue back to a little more.
Sports side.
Sure.
Yeah, the sports side.
Oh,
So
okay.
you said you played 2 sports. Now one was football. What exactly is the other one?
The other one was volleyball actually.
What about volleyball interested you?
So we didn't get a team. We didn't have a boys volleyball team out here until my junior year. I played it kind of intramurals, and I had run track in the spring as well. But I really enjoyed volleyball, and we were able to get a team my junior year. So I played that my junior and senior year. Anecdotally, I was Hart's first all-CIF volleyball player. So that's my one little claim to fame here in the volleyball world. And then went to Davis, like I said, tried to do 2 sports, did them the first year, and then there was no way I was going to be able to do, collegiately 2 sports and keep my grades up and live the life. And so I was recruited there to play football, and so that's where I ended up sticking with. But still, I always think that if we had had a team, a volleyball team from from my freshman year, I probably would have ended up staying with volleyball because I really enjoyed the sport and would have been put in a different experiences than what I had. But it was a lot of fun.
You said you were in dramatic arts. Have you ever been in any plays?
Yeah,
Which ones?
Thanks. That's a great question. So, and the reason why I minored in dramatic art was because I liked the performance side. If you were going to major in drama, you had to do the lighting, the set design, the script, the scene work that I didn't really enjoy. Yeah, and I don't think my parents would have been really fired up if I said, "Hey, I'm going to major in drama." So that would have been a problem. So, but by minoring in it, it did. I was able to take a lot of acting classes. I was in several plays, campus shows. And it was great. It was because if you got cast in a play, that was an additional class. So you got units, and so it helped me keep my units up, graduate sooner, and it was fun. And it was during that I learned that I didn't have any hesitation about performing or being on stage, but I was much more comfortable being myself than playing a character. And so, again, sometimes the Lord knows what He's doing. I majored in communications. I studied dramatic art. Not with any thought of being in politics in a future life, but certainly that training, those skills have come into play, in my career.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was good.
Mm-hmm. So, what do you do for relaxation?
So I have 3 kids, and. So much of my free time is spent with them. Whatever.
Okay.
So whatever it is, the activities they do. My weekends are spent like most Santa Clarita parents. They're spent at Central Park or somewhere at a soccer game or a dance studio with my daughter or doing taking her to her event. So. I do that, but I really, I still like to exercise. I like to run. I like to go to the gym. Those type of things from a day-to-day standpoint. But I really still love to travel. That's my wife and I. We like to get out when we can. Whether it's just the 2 of us or sometimes bringing the whole family. And getting away and just kind of. Detoxing for a little bit, leave the phones, only check them, when you have to, and being able to kind of escape a little bit. So that's, I've always enjoyed traveling.
So in a KHTS interview, you mentioned that you admire Santa Clarita. what do you most admire about it? Is there anything that you would change about our city?
So, what I've learned about this town is whenever there is a need, Santa Clarita steps up above and beyond what you would even think you need. So, for example, there's a PE teacher over the holidays in the Saugus district who posted on social media about one of her students couldn't do PE because he only had one pair of shoes and they weren't appropriate for PE. And that turned into her receiving probably over 1,000 donations of shoes.
Wow.
From Santa Clarita folks. And that's just one, anecdote. And, you could talk about that in Santa Clarita all day long of instances of the community stepping up. When we had one of our soldiers, was killed in action, and when he came home, the streets were lined with resident people just to pay their respects as his casket was brought back. And
wow.
Just again, and very much just organically. And someone posted about this, and people lined the streets. People who didn't know him, didn't know the family, but wanted to show their respects and appreciation. And those are things that you don't see in other cities. Santa Clarita has a very big heart, and when they hear about a need, this community jumps in. Both hands, both feet, and you see results like that.
Wow.
So you and your dad are very similar. You basically followed in his footsteps. Do you want your children to lead the same path as you and your father, or?
It's funny. I appreciate your question, because it's funny. Is my dad also, aside from his career, in public office, was also in the military, and my older brother is a colonel in the Air Force, and so both my brother and I ended up following, parts of my father's path, whether it be the military or the public service part. Certainly, if my kids wanted to do this, I would certainly encourage them. There's a lot of ways to serve, and you don't have to be the mayor. You can serve by working for the mayor. That's how I got started, working for other people, and you can still be very influential and still make the change, because there's a saying that politics ain't beanbags, and it is a contact sport. And I had to tell my kids during the campaign, I just said, you just need to be prepared that maybe not everybody likes me. And some of your friends' parents may not like me. Some of your teachers may not be supportive of me. So just be prepared of that, for that in the world of politics.
The pros and cons.
There is. And, if they, my job, I think, as a dad is to try to expose them to as many things as they can, give them as many opportunities that, that they can do, just like your parents, and then, then let you decide. What you or they want to do, because life's hard enough. Going to work every day is, what's the saying? If you find something you love, you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And that's true. Like I don't, Sunday nights, I'm not sitting there thinking, oh, I've got to go to work tomorrow. And there are a lot of people, unfortunately, who have to do that. But for me, great. I'm going to City Hall tomorrow, or what? I'm very thankful for that. I worked hard to get there, but it is something that I certainly don't feel like I'm going to work every day.
That's really cool.
So you're pretty busy as the mayor. So what do you enjoy about being mayor?
I think the biggest thing is really being able to help people. Whether it's folks who are trying to open a business and they're getting stuck with some rules or whatever it is, and that I can come in and help get that through so people can open up their business and live their life. So being able to help people, being able to drive the direction of the path of my hometown and set the plans for the future of my hometown is also something I very much enjoy.
All right, well, we gotta wrap it up here for a second. Cameron, thank you so much for being on the show. It's been a real good time.
You know, guys, I appreciate it. I'm interviewed a ton, and I can tell you, you guys did a great job. I really appreciated the questions, and I think you guys should keep doing this.
And we appreciate your work for being the mayor of this city.
See, I like it. See, you even know right what to say. Perfect. Thank you, guys.
Anyway, this has been KHTS AM 1220, your hometown station. Are we on the highway? Have a good day.